All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and we're going to begin with our misdemeanor calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. This is going to be the state all-purpose calendar. It is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals have already been formally accused of certain misdemeanor offenses. They've already had their initial appearance and bonds have been set. Today is technically what we would term a plea and arraignment calendar, where individuals would either enter a plea of guilty or no contest in exchange for a recommended sentence offered by the prosecutor, or they will enter a plea of not guilty and have the cases further noticed for trial. I will address other matters as the attorneys raise them, but if you are a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offense, please remember the following. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney if you cannot afford one of the attorneys from the Public Defender's Office or the Conflict Defense List will represent you. So recently, we have a person named Honey who is grooming herself in front of a mirror. It would be a good thing to switch your video off so we don't get to share the experience. Thank you. Mr. Tyrone and Lisa Johnson, I hope you are parked. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a formal court proceeding. I expect you to be formally appropriately dressed and not driving, not grooming yourself, not enjoying breakfast. You would act just as if you were in an actual courtroom, okay? So let's begin with courtroom 2. Mr. Dotis, good morning. Who do we have?
Good morning, Judge Law. This is going to be position number 32, Mr. Salzer.
Okay. And position 32 is going to be an arraignment. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. McLean. This is Everardo Salazar, accused of criminal trespass from May 13th, 2023. Mr. Salazar, you've been advised of your right to remain silent and to counsel. You are accused of one misdemeanor offense of criminal trespass. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
We waive that reading, Your Honor. We have a copy. We've seen what the elements are. We will have a bond argument after.
All right. Mr. Salazar, you are legally presumed innocent of this charge, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond reasonable doubt. If the prosecution prevails, you could be convicted. Okay, you could be convicted and face a sentence of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead? Mr. Salazar, given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Your case has been arraigned. All right, and I understand your attorney wants to address bond. 5 South, we're going to keep you on mute until we're ready to address your case. Thank you. All right, Mr. McLean, what would you like to state?
Your Honor, yesterday we had quite a few people, so I may not have gotten as much of a chance as I would have normally liked to analyze his bond situation. If he does not already have a signature bond in position number 32, I would like to ask for one. My main argument has to do with the nature of the offense. His arrest record is what it is. I'm not going to claim that it's de minimis, but given that it's a criminal trespass from May 13th, 2023, I would like to say that he works a warehouse job at LSG Sky Chiefs. He makes $17 an hour. He has no dependents. He's a graduate of Tri-Cities High School and is also HVAC certified from having gone to courses at Atlanta Tech. Cum laude. Cum laude, he says. So I would like to argue for a signature bond based on those matters. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Who's the prosecutor in this
I
matter?
am. Good morning, Your
Walker,
Honor.
good morning. Yes, sir.
Can I have pre-trial please read the history? Are they on the line?
All right. They should be. I have Miss Tyson. Miss Tyson, we are looking at position 32. May I have his GCIC?
Yeah, sure. Defendant has 5 arrest cycles beginning in 2016. It appears his last arrest was before this one was out of East Point for DUI and driving without a valid license. No disposition is listed on the GCIC for that case yet.
Okay.
I don't see any felony convictions on here. So
Yes,
anything to
Your
add,
Honor.
Your Honor?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
In this case, the defendant was given $1,000 surety bond. He was arrested at the Pyramid Hookah Bar and Lounge. He had previously received a criminal trespass on May 11th, I believe 2 days before this incident. And speaking with the police officer, he said he was willing to go to jail and he will continue to return to this location because the food is free. There has been no change in circumstance. Based on the events alleged, I feel as though $1,000 surety bond is more than reasonable. We just ask that the court maintain that bond as said.
All right. Anything else, Mr. McLean?
Nothing else, Your Honor. Thank you.
Bond modification is denied. The case is arraigned and further notice for trial. Thank you.
Thanks. Good to meet you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead and have a seat.
You're done.
All right, 5 South, who do we have, please?
Position 36, Mr. Tart.
All right, and good morning to you, Deputy. Thank you. All right. Position 36, Kristen Todd, accused of simple battery domestic violence. Mr. Todd, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during the course of this proceeding, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this morning is going to be Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean is seated in courtroom 2. Mr. McLean, if you could just wave your hand. Mr. Todd, do you see him?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good. Thank you. And Mr. McLean, I'm so sorry. I didn't print out Mr. Doty's list, so let me see.
36 start, that's an arraignment, not guilty, and
All right.
let's see, 36.
So this is going to be an arraignment.
Right.
All right. And do you waive a reading of the accusation?
We do, Your Honor. We have a copy of that accusation and have access to all its elements.
All right, thank you. Mr. Todd, as I've said, your attorney is Mr. McLean, and he has announced your intent to enter a not guilty plea. You are charged with 1 criminal misdemeanor offense, which is simple battery domestic violence allegedly occurring in Fulton County on September 28, 2022. You are legally presumed innocent of the charge. Could we please remove Miss Melissa until she parks her car? Remove Melissa from the Zoom. Thank you. All right, as I was saying, you are legally presumed innocent of this charge, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state prevails, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right, your case has been arraigned and there'll be further notice for trial. Mr. McLean, anything else to address?
There's nothing else to address at this time, Your Honor. I will consult with other attorneys in my office to see if they might address an issue later.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Todd, thank you very much. 5 South, do we have any other cases?
No, but I do have an announcement. Mr. Spellers, position 33 and 34 will be a medical reset. He had an incident on the floor.
Okay. And Mr. McLean, we will address him next Thursday, position 33 and 34.
33-4. Thank you.
Position 35, Stubbs.
All right. This is Desmond Stubbs in courtroom. Mr. Stubbs, your case number is 23 CR 002-944J. You've been accused of loitering and prowling. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean, this will be a negotiated plea.
It is, Your Honor.
All right. And who's our prosecutor? Mr. Walker will be prosecuting?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the state is recommending 12 months to serve, 58 days, credit for time served of 29 days, balance suspended with a stay away of Northside Church located at 2799 Northside Drive.
Could you tell me again, how many days has he served?
29.
29. And credit for 29 days as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Stubbs, if you please raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Mr. McLean, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID for this particular case?
We do so stipulate.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stubbs, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the services of the Public Defender's Office?
Yes, ma'am.
And is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea to this charge of loitering and prowling, you would have to give up your right to go back to court and have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not be able to have the assistance of counsel to challenge the evidence brought against you, to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of loitering and prowling?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 29 days, credit for time served 29 days, balance suspended. For the remainder, once you're released on this case, you have to stay away from the Northside Church at 2799 Northside Drive.
All right.
Any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Next,
Position
please.
37, Vila Bama. Does he need a Spanish interpreter?
He does. I
Never
believe
mind.
that one.
Disregard, Judge, we need a Spanish interpreter for position 37, so we're gonna
Okay.
stop on that.
I translate it.
Position 42, Welch.
I understand that the state is, okay, I'm going to let the state make its announcement. Oh, excuse me, this is 41 and 42, excuse me. Okay. This is Michael Welch. He has position 41, state case 22 CR 006-582A, and in which he's charged with criminal trespass from September 27, 2022. The second case appears to be a matter arising from a bench warrant, 23 FTA 000463 from January 19th, 2023. Mr. Welch, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. McLean. Mr. Walker, what are the terms of the plea?
It's going to be 15 days time served, balance suspended with a stay away from the Westlake train station located at 80 Anderson Avenue.
Mr. McLean, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do stipulate to those three elements, Your Honor, yes.
Mr. Welch, have you consumed any medicine or, excuse me, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the statements you make will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Welch, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the services of your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
And has it been explained to you that if you decide to plead guilty today, you will not have an opportunity to challenge this charge in a court of law? You will not have a trial. You will not be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, examine witnesses, and have the state prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of loitering and, criminal trespass?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 15 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended. You cannot return to the Westlake Martyr Station. If there is any active suspension against you, it's most likely you cannot return to any Martyr property until the suspension is lifted.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Position 6, Mr. Colin Rodriguez.
All right. Position number 6, is that the same as position 28 and 29 as well?
Yes, Your Honor, 28, 29, and 6 are the same. 6, I believe, is the FTA associated with something, and 28, 29 are negotiated plea and negotiated plea respectively.
So we're taking a plea on 28 and 29 and going to null pros position 6. Would that be correct, Mr. Walker?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Your Honor, with regard to number 28, his name is Jawan, and it's Joewan. And somehow on 28, the last 3 letters of his first name didn't make it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Jawan Colin Rodriguez, you have 3 separate cases before us today. Case position 6 is 23 FTA 000468, stemming from a bench warrant, apparently from October 7, 2022. I understand that the state will close that case out if the negotiated plea hearings move forward on positions 28 and 29. In position 28, it is 21 CR 002267D, in which Mr. Jawan Rodriguez is accused of 5 separate matters stemming from May 9th, 2021. Operating a vehicle with an expired or no driver's license, improper erratic lane change, hit and run, willful obstruction of an officer, and theft by shoplifting. Position 29, the case number is 22 CR 002005D. Mr. Jawan Rodriguez is accused of obstruction of an officer from April 3rd, 2022. I understand that we're going to address a plea hearing in all 3 matters. So, Mr. Rodriguez, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the statements you make will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, what are the offers?
Yes, Your Honor. For position 28, the offer is 12 months to serve, 45 days, credit for time served 13 days, balance probated with the conditions of a defensive driving course, 40 hours community service, 1 anti-theft course, and a $500 fine.
All right, and position 29?
That's just simply going to be time served, 13 days.
Okay. Mr. McLean, does your client accept these terms? Do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Your Honor, last thing first, we do so stipulate, and Your Honor, one variation, which is not terribly uncommon in these courts, on the $500 fine, at the rate of $10 an hour, he would respectfully request the court to convert the fine into more community service, resulting in a total of 90 hours of community service and $0 in fine. He's got 2 courses he's got to take. Those are going to cost money. Probation is going to cost money. And due to those economic burdens, he would like to do extra community service instead of the fine.
He'll be reporting to probation for the whole year. There won't be any early termination. Would that be acceptable?
Understood, Your Honor.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you did say you stipulate, right?
Yes, Your Honor, we do. We
Okay.
stipulate to the three elements, and he asked the court to accept his negotiated plea of guilty.
All right. Mr. Rodriguez, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that, excuse me, are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that, based on what your attorney has explained, that you will be reporting to probation every month for the next 10.5 months?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Has it been explained to you that you will be giving up your right to a trial? You will not have the assistance of counsel to challenge the evidence brought against you, challenge the witnesses testifying against you, confront your accuser, to present any defenses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you freely and willingly giving up your rights?
Yes.
And how do you plead to one count of obstruction of an officer from position 29?
Guilty, ma'am.
How do you plead to theft by shoplifting, willful obstruction of an officer, hit and run, improper lane change, and expired or no driver's license?
Guilty.
For position 28, your sentence is 12 months to serve 45 days, credit for time served 13 days. I understand that you will have additional time to serve at the jail. Do you understand that?
You need additional time?
The 45 days. 46 divided by 2 is 23, and you have 13 days credit, and you would be here next for 10 days. Yes, that's the calculation.
Did you have a different impression, Mr. Rodriguez?
I didn't know about the extra days, that was all.
Well, it's to serve 45 days and you've only been in jail for 13 days. So if you do the math, you have to serve extra time in the jail.
Oh, Your Honor, it may be that he has some additional time credit available. Can we check on that and get back to the court in a few minutes?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Meanwhile, we have our Spanish interpreter, Ms. Chauncey, available. Deputy Francois, is the case in which we need an interpreter available?
Yes. Okay. Position 37, Villalba/Nava.
Okay. Ms. Chauncey, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
And may I place you under oath? Do you
Yes.
solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony which you translate will be a true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Thank you. This is position 37, State versus Jose Villalba.
Este es el caso en la posición 37, la Fiscalía en contra de José Villalba.
Mr. Villalba is accused of battery from April 30th, 2022.
El señor Villalba tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones ocurrido el 30 de abril del 2023.
His case number is 22 CR 002652F.
Y el número de caso es 22 CR 002-652F.
Mr. Villalba, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say during these proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you.
Señor Villalba, usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga podrá y será usado en su contra.
You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one is appointed to represent you, and Mr. Mike McLean will be representing you.
Usted tiene derecho a ser representado por un abogado y si no puede contratar uno, se le asignará uno y el señor Mike McLean va a representarlo hoy.
Mr. McLean, I'm so sorry, position 37.
Señor McLean, la posición 37.
We are entering a not guilty plea. Would that be correct?
Nos estamos
Correct.
declarando inocente, ¿correcto? Sí.
Correct, Your Honor.
Correcto, su señoría.
Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
¿Usted renuncia a la lectura formal?
We do.
Sí.
Mr. Villalba, you are accused of battery and you are legally presumed innocent of this charge.
Señor Villalba, usted tiene un cargo por golpes y lesiones y hasta ahora usted está considerado inocente.
Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial.
Al usted tomar una declaración de inocente, su caso será puesto en un horario para ir a juicio.
At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
Y una vez que esto suceda, la fiscalía va a tener que establecer y preparar el caso para comprobar su cargo más allá de toda duda razonable.
If the prosecution prevails, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine.
Si la fiscalía lo comprueba y gana el caso, usted podría enfrentar hasta 1 año de encarcelamiento y una multa de hasta $1,000.
Given this information, how do you plead to the one charge of battery?
Al recibir esta información, ¿cómo se declara usted ante un cargo de golpes y lesiones?
No culpable.
Not guilty.
Your case has been arraigned and will be further noticed for trial.
Su caso ha sido procesado en esta sesión y va a planearse su juicio.
Thank you.
Gracias.
All right. Deputy Francois, do we have another case in the courtroom that requires a Spanish interpreter?
We do?
Not, I don't know if they're in the courtroom or.
No, good. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. We do have something on Mr. Rodriguez now, Your Honor.
Okay.
And Villapanda is leading it.
And
Who's the other case that requires an interpreter?
Your Honor, it's positions 38 and 39, Mr. Villapando, as well as position 38, Mr. Enriquez. I know that he's on, I know one of the officers is going to go to him. One of the jail staff is going to go to him, so I'm not sure when they'll get to him, but we will need the Spanish interpreter to hold.
Okay, position 38 and 39 is Miguel Villapando. And what was the other one?
Position 13, Jose Enriquez, I believe.
All right. All right, Ms. Chauncey, if you don't mind holding, let me know if you need to be elsewhere, okay?
Oh, no, I'm fine, Your Honor. I'm here for you.
All right, if the Fulton County Jail will please note that we would need positions 13, 38, and 39. Thank you. All right, next case at 5 North, who do we have, please?
This is position number 21, Mr. Kareem.
All right, that would be Mr. Doty's client.
And Your Honor, this is going to be a negotiated plea.
All right, thank you. This is State versus Khalid Kareem, case number 23 CR 003442D. Mr. Kareem, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say about the facts of your case, the statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you this morning is Mr. Angelo Dotis. He is seated in courtroom 2. Do you see him?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Kareem, you've been accused of criminal trespass, public drunk, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer from May 23rd, 2023. I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. The state's recommendation is 12 months to serve 42 days, credit for time served 21 days, balance probated to an ADET, and to stay away from 65 Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard.
All right. Mr. Dodis, are these the terms to which your clients agreed, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we do stipulate to the three elements for the purpose of this plea. These are the terms we have agreed to, but if there's no objection, because the stay away address is a MARTA station, we would ask it to be worded as comply with any and all active MARTA suspensions. Mr. Kareem is aware that he will need to check with MARTA to see if there are any, to see when his current suspension expires, and he does have that number to do so. I provided that to him yesterday. But we would ask it to just be to comply so that once that suspension is listed, he's not prohibited from moving around the city. Mr. Kareem is also residentially challenged and not currently employed, so we would ask it to switch to non-reporting status upon completion of the ADET, as well as if this court could waive a few months of his probation to allow him to get on his feet.
Okay.
Ms. Bickerstaff, what's the state's position?
No objection to changing the wording to comply with all MARTA suspensions. No objection with any of it, honestly, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm just trying to remember whether he had a permanent ban, and I understand that he still has an open case holding him at the jail.
Let me check.
Yes, Your Honor, he does have an open case holding him.
Okay. All right. Mr. Kareem, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that, excuse me, is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
What I meant to say was, do you understand that even though we close this case out with the plea, and you will not be able to start your sentence until you're released on all your other cases?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Has it also been explained to you that you would be giving up your rights to go back to court to have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to be able to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, and have the prosecution try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you entering this plea freely, willingly, and knowingly?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead? One count of criminal trespass, public drunk, and willful obstruction of an officer from May 23rd, 2023.
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 42 days, credit for time served 21 days. The remainder of the time will be on probation. Your probation will only commence once you're released on all cases, and you report to your probation office within a week of being released. While you're on probation, you will complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment that's required. I believe Grady Hospital offers such evaluation treatment at a low or no cost. You're also to stay away from the MARTA station at Joseph E. Lowry Boulevard. Actually, you're supposed to stay away from all MARTA property if there is any active suspension against you. So before you approach any MARTA station or bus, you will need to check with MARTA headquarters if there's any active suspension against you.
Yes, ma'am.
If you complete your evaluation and treatment, then your probation will be non-reporting. I will waive your probation fees for the first 2 months after you're released from the jail. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
All right, courtroom 2 or 5 North, do you have anyone else?
No, I do not.
All right, thank you. Courtroom 2, who do we have next?
Position 7 through 9, Mr. Cruz. It doesn't look like Ms. McLeod is on there, Judge, so we might have to just hold off on him.
Okay,
Moving on to the next will be position.
isn't that Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, that's Mr. Cruz, but they said it's Ms. McLeod's case, position 7 through 9.
Oh, Ms. McLeod?
Yeah, she doesn't.
All right, yeah, she's not present here. Okay.
Position 10, Mr. Marquez.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Dodis. Position 10, we are arraigning the case.
Your Honor, we'll be waiving arraignment and entering plea of not guilty for Mr. Cupido Marquez.
Anything else to address?
Nothing else is needed to address at this point, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Cupido Marquez, your case is going, I understand your attorney is going to file a not guilty plea to the charges brought against you, and your case is going to be reset for trial. You will receive notice as to when your trial date is. If you are released on bond, please make sure that your address and contact information are current with the court clerk's office at all times. Thank you.
Position 14, Mr. Goffin.
And for, this is going to be a negotiated plea hearing. This is State versus Robert Sain Goffin, 23 CR 002897J. What is the correct charge against Mr. Goffin?
It should be one count of criminal trespass.
All right. Calendar, I printed had a different charge, so.
Right.
Okay. So Mr. Goffin's got one count of criminal trespass, a misdemeanor offense against him. And I understand that this is going to be a negotiated plea hearing. Mr. Goffin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Dodis. May I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Please put your hand up. Ms. Bickerstaff, what's the plea offer for Mr. Goffin?
The plea offer is 12 months to serve, 330 days. Credit for time served, 165 days. Balance suspended, and to stay away from 89 Woodard Avenue.
Mr. Goffin, excuse me, Mr. Odotis, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor, we do stipulate to the three elements and would ask this court to accept this negotiated plea.
All right. Mr. Goffin, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
Ma'am, no.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Ma'am, yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And has anyone forced or induced you to take this plea today?
No.
If you decide to enter a guilty plea to the criminal trespass, you will not have the opportunity to try this case in a court of law, to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence and the testimony brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Yes.
The sentence is 12. You did say guilty, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Your sentence is 12 months to serve 330 days, credit for time served 165 days, balance suspended. Once you're released, you are not to return to 89 Woodard Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. That concludes your case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 17, Hammond.
Okay, this is State versus Orlando Cortez Hammond. Mr. Hammond's accused of simple battery domestic violence from May 28th, 2023. Mr. Hammond, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Dodis. Mr. Dodis, do you waive a reading of the accusation, or will you be filing a waiver?
I'll be filing a waiver, Your Honor, waiving arraignment.
All right. So, Mr. Hammond, your attorney will be entering a not guilty plea on your behalf. Mr. Hammond was seen on May 30th, 2023, in which time a bond was set for fastest this machine will work.
I'm seeing a bond was set for it was a $2,000 good bond.
Yeah, it was 2,000 by Judge Morrow on May 30th with stay away and no contact. Yes, Mr. Dodis, what would you like to address?
Yes, Your Honor. As stated, Mr. Hammond is set at does have his bond set at $2,000 good bond. He cannot afford that bond. He has been in custody the past 16 days because he cannot afford that bond. He's a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta. He does have a good address that's separate from the incident location and knows that he needs to stay away from the complaining witness. The address he will be staying with is family. It's his niece, Shamika Gamble. I do have her contact information and confirmed with her that he does have this address, which I will provide the court in the chat. He also has brothers and 3 sisters in the area. He attended Harper Archer High School, and he's currently working at Athens Paper Warehouse and the Wendy's on Howell Mill. And I confirmed with Miss Gamble, his niece, she reached out to his supervisors, and they said that as of now, they are holding both of those jobs for him at this point, but they can't promise anything in the future. Mr. Hammond does have 3 children, as well as 2 grown kids, ages 15, 10, and 9 years old, that he wants to get out and provide for them. Once Mr. Bickerstaff says her piece, I'll add to the facts, but we would ask for a signature bond today.
All right. Ms. Tyson, I understand. Go ahead and give me his GCI CPS-1.
Your defendant has 27 arrest cycles beginning in 1999. Criminal history within the last 10 years. He has a misdemeanor conviction out of Atlanta for theft by shoplifting. Disposition date on that is April of 2015. He has another misdemeanor conviction out of Pine Lake, DeKalb County, for another theft by shoplifting. Disposition date on that is September of 2019. He has 1 violation of probation, 1 FTA, and his last arrest was out of Fulton County. Let's see, that was October of 2021 for aggravated assault, which resulted in a felony conviction. Disposition date on that is February of 2023. Nothing to add, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Your Honor, so this incident occurred May 28th, 2023 at 2265 Perry Road Boulevard. And this is where the defendant and Ms. Jamaria Mathis were in an argument, and Ms. Mathis asked the defendant to leave. And she advised officers that the defendant was making threatening gestures at her. And so in self-defense, she struck him. The defendant said that he was not physical with her. Officers did observe injuries on the defendant. However, because the officer could not ascertain who was the primary aggressor, both Ms. Mathis and the defendant were booked. The state would recommend that the bond stay at $2,000 surety bond. It seems like a reasonable bond, as well as no further contact with Ms. Mathis and a stay away from the incident location.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Odotis?
Yes, Your Honor, just to follow up on the facts. My client is the one who dialed 911.
Yes, I've read the warrants. I do understand the alleged victim is also a cross-defendant. I do understand that. Anything with respect to his ability to not reoffend?
Right, Your Honor, my client is clear that he can have no further contact. As stated, we do have a separate address with family that is not known to the alleged victim, and he's clear he cannot have any future contact with that alleged victim. So we would ask for a signature bond in any and all conditions that this court would feel to ensure the safety of the community and any of the witnesses involved in this case. I'm confident with family support, as well as having 2 jobs and the children that he needs to provide for, that Mr. Hammond knows what he needs to do to successfully stay on his feet and be a productive member of society.
All right. I understand that both the alleged victim, well, they're both cross-defendants, and given the nature of the charge, I'm going to amend the bond to $1,000 surety bond. Given Mr. Hammond's numerous arrest cycles, including his recent conviction for aggravated assault, he doesn't qualify for a signature bond at this time. No, all the conditions shall remain the same. No further contact with the alleged victim / cross defendant, to stay away from the incident location as set forth in the original bond order. No illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms, and no alcohol. Mr. Hammond will also attend and complete the well, no, he doesn't have to do that. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'll submit that, order. Second item.
I forgot this one. Within 30 days of being released, he must update the court with his current address and contact information, including phone and email.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Doris. Next case, please.
I have the interpreter cases here on 4 North. I have 3 people. So we can go ahead and start with Mr. Enriquez on Mr. Dotis, breakout.
All right.
on how to-
Appreciate it. And who do we have at 4 North at the present time?
This is Enriquez.
Every case, okay, I think that's position 13.
Yes, position number 13.
Okay, thank you, Deputy. Ms. Chauncey, are we ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and Mr. Dotis, that would be your client. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor, my apologies. We were on mute. I will need a breakout room with 4 North and the interpreter.
Okay, and does Mr. McLean need a breakout for the other defendant, Mr. Villalobos?
I believe so, but I will pass my laptop to him afterwards if we want to, if that's the most efficient way. We can keep coming back. I'm not sure.
All right. 4 North, we're going to be requesting that you go into a breakout with Mr. Dotis. You will see him on a laptop along with our interpreter, Ms. Chauncey. I'm not sure, is it Mr. Jordan who is hosting today? Ms. Lewis, Ms. Katrina Lewis. Okay, she's going to.
They're already in there.
All right, thank you, Ms. Lewis. Good morning. How are you? Okay. Deputy Francois, may we have a case in courtroom 2 in which Mr. McLean is representing?
Only case we have left, Judge, is gonna be Mr. Cruz. That's Ms. McLeod's case.
Okay,
Also, Your Honor, we have the number of days of credit that we believe is the correct calculation for Mr. Rodriguez. We believe it would be resulting in 4 extra days of jail instead of 10.
okay. Well, I was 1 off. I thought it was 5. Okay,
Is that done?
I mean, we just need to. confirm.
all right. So Ms. Champion, what position number was that case, Mr. McLean?
I think it was 2829, was it not?
Position 6, also, let me double check it. It's 28,
6 was null pros, so 28, 29, yeah. So the time he's got left to serve on that case would be 4 days. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. McLean, I understand you'll be using the Mr. Dotis's laptop to go into a breakout when your client's available at 5 North. So you'll be doing a rotation with that laptop as soon as he's done.
Which client is that, Your Honor?
Mr. Villalobos, position 38 and 39.
Mr.
Miguel Villapando, excuse me.
We communicated sufficiently yesterday. I just think we need an interpreter for the court session itself. I won't need a breakout.
Okay, and what are we doing in his case?
I believe it's a negotiated plea and a null process, is that correct? Take a look at the
Yes,
Calendar.
yes, okay. All right,
Excuse me, Judge, I got a question for you. Well, y'all was just talking about position, Rodriguez, colon.
Right.
No.
It says Rodriguez. His name is actually Colon Rodriguez.
Okay, y'all aware of that he had made a cash bond on those charges that he's taking a plea on? He made a
No, I
cash
did
bond
not
on
know
June
that.
9th. Huh?
no, I did not know that.
Yeah, he made a cash bond on these charges 6-9. Only thing is holding him is a transfer to the other holds that he has on him. But he made a cash bond on those charges on June 9th. He just
Mr.
hasn't been
McLean,
released
did your
because of
client?
those- He just haven't been released because of the hold that he have. He has 2 holds, one in Cherokee County and one in Gwinnett County.
With whom did he, where did he pay the cash bond? To the sheriff's office?
It has the name of the person who posted the cash bond for him.
Okay, so,
Um,
so they posted a cash bond with a bonding company,
No,
with the sheriff?
posted through, a person actually paid the cash. through the-
Okay,
through the- through the
whoever's
jail.
that person, they need to come back and get it back.
Correct.
Because apparently whoever posted that bond did not convey the information to either Mr. Colin Rodriguez or otherwise Mr.
Name was Jenny Yazzie Zarone, something Dimes.
Yeah, that person would need to take the steps to cancel that bond transaction.
I don't know how, well, I guess after she get the disposition, I guess she could take it to the jail to get so that the case is closed.
All right. Okay, we'll be in recess until Mr. Doty's appears. Ms. Lewis, can we reach out to Miss Maureen McLeod?
I'll check and see where she's
All
at.
right. I have a Lisa Johnson on the screen. Ms. Johnson, which case are you here for?
Oh, Your Honor, my name's Romney Phillips. Ms. Johnson is Tyrone Anthony Johnson's mother, and I believe he is in 4 North. And then Tyrone and Lisa Johnson up in the left-hand corner is his father.
I see someone on an iPad raising a hand. I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
I don't either. I asked her to change her name several times on the iPad and that she should not be driving.
All right, let's see if she listens. The lady in the blue purple t-shirt, you need to unmute your screen. What's your name, please?
I'm Kissy Williams. I'm Tyrone Johnson's mother.
Spell your first name.
Kissy.
All right. And Miss Kissy Johnson, are you presently driving?
No, I'm sitting still. My name is Kissy Williams. I'm his mother. Lisa Johnson is his stepmom.
Okay. And I gather Tyrone Johnson is his father.
Correct.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Phillips, your counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and let me find out where he's still at 4 North.
I believe so, Your Honor. I checked with courtroom 2 and they said he was in 4 North.
Okay, well, as soon as 4 North comes back with Mr. Johnson, we'll be able to address his case.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Phillips, while we're waiting for your client, how are you planning to? Have you spoken to the prosecutor in this case?
Your Honor, I emailed or chatted with Prosecutor Walker and made an offer which he denied. So we will further discuss the case and hopefully be able to resolve it.
Do you want to go into a breakout with Mr. Walker?
I would love that, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ian Walker, are you presently available?
Sorry, Your Honor, my laptop was freezing. I am available, but this is AG Bickerstaff's case.
All right,
Oh.
I will place Ms. Bickerstaff and Mr. Phillips. And Mr. Walker, would you like to be in the breakout too?
Sure.
I'm not twisting your arm, I'm just asking.
I'll go. That's not the issue. We can all go, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Lewis, if we could place the 3 lawyers in a breakout room, and hopefully all 3 will reappear. So,
Repeat that again, Judge, I'm sorry.
Mr. Ian Walker, Mr. Romney Phillips, and Ms. Bickerstaff. Ms. Bickerstaff, are you there?
Okay.
Yes, Judge, I'm here.
All right, you'll see a message to join the breakout room with Mr. Phillips and Mr. Walker.
Okay.
All right, while we are waiting for Mr. Dotis to reappear with his client, we'll be in a brief recess. Thank you.
Let's go on mute for a sec.
Mr. Dodd is done, Ms. Lewis?
I don't think so, but I'll go in there and check.
Yeah, please send them a message, tell them we're waiting. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Ms. McLeod, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, I think we have your client in courtroom 2. Mr. Cruz. Positions 7, 8, and 9 on the SAP calendar for today.
That'll be done.
Would you need a moment to speak with him or?
Oh, that's my cloud.
Is that a yes, Ms. McLeod? or-
Yes, yes, Your Honor. Yes,
Breaking up a little bit.
Okay, go ahead and have-
Okay,
We'll give you a call, Ms. McLeod.
thank you.
all right, thank you. All right, Ms. McLeod, if you want to mute your screen, I think they may be calling you on your phone. Okay, thank you. Mr. Phillips, Ms. Bickerstaff, you've all already conversed. Are you all?
Yes, Your Honor. I would just need an opportunity to speak to my client in the breakout room.
Okay.
And convey the offer to him.
Okay, all right, we'll do that.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
As soon as 4 North appears on the screen.
Okay. All
Okay,
right, I
thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, who do we have in courtroom 2?
Ms. McLeod's case, position 7 through 9, Mr. Cruz.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Ms. McLeod? I think she's. Ms. Lewis, can you check and see if she's trying to get back into the Zoom? She may have been using her phone.
Okay.
This meeting is being recorded. Excuse me, Your Honor. I'm
Yes, Ms.
sorry to
Chauncey.
interrupt. I accidentally came back into the room. I apologize. I
That's
made a
okay.
mistake, and I wonder if I could be transferred back so I can assist Mr. McLean.
Oh, Mr. McLean, not Mr. Dodis?
He's done. He finished with that.
Okay. I think Mr. McLean said he's ready to proceed with the hearing. He's already spoken to his client.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so we can proceed. Let's address Ms. McLeod's case with Antonio DeAnthony Cruz. Mr. Cruz is got position 7, 8, and 9. Position 7 is 22 CR 007-899Y. Battery, family violence is the charge from March 17, 2022. Position 8 is another charge of battery, family violence from August 31st, 2020. And the third case, position 9, is simple battery, domestic violence, and willful obstruction of an officer from November 5th, 2021. Mr. Cruz, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Maureen McLeod. Ms. McLeod, how are we proceeding with your client's case?
Well, Your Honor, I haven't had any offers on this case, on these cases for my client, nothing from the state.
Mhm. Have you reached out to Ms. Bickerstaff or Mr. Walker? Nothing has been sent to you?
But nothing has been said to me, Your Honor.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask the court about modifying my client's bond because he was actually out on bond when he was picked up, and then they gave him on some of the charges. I believe there is no bond.
All right, let me just, considering the age of some of the charges,
Excuse me, quickly, Judge Law.
Mhm.
There are 2 offers for the state for position 8 and 9. We're not offering we're not extending an offer for position 7 because it would be his second battery family violence, which would be a felony. So.
Is that case been transferred? Position 7?
No, that's why we're not extending an offer, because the second conviction would make it a felony.
Okay.
What offers? I did not receive any offers.
Okay, Miss McLeod, I'll chat you the offers for position 8 and 9, okay?
All right.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see what is the basis of the bonds at the present time. So he's apparently been in custody now.
A month, Your Honor. He was picked
Okay.
up
So
May.
he's got a separate felony matter that's holding him at the jail. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can reset this case to next Thursday in order for counsel to address these possible bonds or discuss this matter, because presently he does have, he's in a no bond status with regards to the felony matter.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Position 7, 8, and 9 are going to be reset to June 20th, SAP.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. McLeod, by then, hopefully you may possibly have a offer on all 3. Who knows?
I'm hoping so, Your Honor. I will definitely reach out to Ms. Bickerstaff and I'll go down to the jail and speak with my client.
I understand the state's position. If he takes an offer on one of the older battery cases, that would automatically trigger a transfer of the newer one. So.
I do understand as well.
Okay, all right. Mr. Cruz, your attorney, Ms. McLeod, will be speaking with the prosecutor, and then based on their conversation, she'll be reaching out to you, and we will readdress all 3 cases next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod, thank you.
Next is position number 26 and 27, Paolo Marini.
Thank you. Okay, that was 4 North. Do you have a Mr. Johnson also available there?
Yes, I have them.
Okay, well, let's do 20, you said 26 and 27, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right. This is State versus Corrado Palmerini. And Mr. Palmerini is going to be represented by Mr. Mike McLean. Mr. McLean, is this the case? We don't need a Spanish interpreter, correct?
No, we do need one for the court session. I didn't need a breakout because I was
Okay.
lucky enough when I visited him, there was a fluent Spanish speaker and he understood everything and wanted to go forward.
All right. Ms. Chauncey, may we have your services, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. This is position 26 and 27 on our calendar. State versus Corrado Palmerini.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I don't have that. If you give me 1 second, please.
I don't need an
Okay.
interpreter.
Okay, he doesn't need an interpreter, Your Honor.
Mr. McLean,
I'm an
your client.
American citizen.
Oh, Mr. Palmerini, I'm thinking of the other fellow, right?
Yes, I helped you with him last night.
Yes, that we got him switched around. Mr. Palmerini is fluent in English. He
Okay.
has no.
All right, Ms. Chauncey, we'll definitely be needing you very soon for another.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Palmerini, for reminding us.
Mr. Palmerini cases are 23 CR 001873Y, in which he's accused of disorderly conduct from March 27th, 2023. He has a subsequent case from May 14, 2023, accused of criminal trespass. And that accusation number is 23 CR 003396Y. Mr. Palmerini, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean, how are we proceeding on both these cases?
Your Honor, we ask the court to accept a negotiated plea of guilty in each one while we stipulate to jurisdiction and factual basis and identification. We understand the terms as offered by the state, which I think they're going to state in a minute, but we've seen them in writing and we'd like to do the negotiated plea.
Mr. Palmerini, please raise your right hand. For purposes of the plea hearing, do you solemnly swear the statements you make will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, what are the offers for positions 26 and 27?
Yes, Your Honor, for position 26, it's just going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, 15 days, balance suspended. For 27, it's just going to be 15 days time served, balance suspended with a stay away condition. The restaurant Burger Fee, located at 5475 Windward Parkway.
Okay. Mr. Palmerini, your attorney has already stipulated to the factual basis, venue, and ID for these cases. Have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
No,
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
I do.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
I am.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take a plea today?
Absolutely not.
In order for me to accept your plea, you have to freely, willingly, and knowingly give up your constitutional right to go back to court and have a trial in front of a judge or a jury, to be able to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence and testimony brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charges in these two cases against you and prove them beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of disorderly conduct?
Guilty.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence for both cases is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended. For the trespass charge, you are to not return to the restaurant called Burger, I believe it's F-I, I don't know whether it's Spy or Fee, but it's at 5475 Windward Parkway in Alpharetta, Georgia. Thank you. That concludes your cases. 4 North, do you have someone else?
I have Mr. Johnson, Tyrone Johnson.
Thank you.
Do they still need to go in a breakout room, Judge?
What's that, Ms. Lewis?
Do he need to go in a breakout room with his client?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Miss Deputy at 4 North, we are going to place Mr. Johnson in a breakout room with his attorney, Romney Phillips.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Phillips, you will see a message on your screen to go into a breakout room.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, courtroom 2, do we have to, do you have any of the interpreter cases ready, Mr. Dodis?
Yes, Your Honor, for position 13, after speaking with Mr. Enriquez through the interpreter, he gave me permission to waive his presence and arraignment, and so we'll just be entering a plea of not guilty, and I will send off that paperwork shortly.
All right, that position 13 is going to be further notice for trial. All right. And do we have positions 38 and 39, Mr. Villaponda in the courtroom?
That's the person that does need the interpreter.
Yeah. Is Mr. Villaponda in the courtroom? With you, Mr. McLean?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Deputy Francois, do we know where Miguel Villaponda is?
What is the name, Judge?
Villaponda, 38-9.
What's the name? Oh, Villapando. He's on 4 North.
All right, so he's there with the location and the breakout.
Yeah, we're actually completed here in courtroom 2, Judge. This is gonna be another, this is for misdemeanor court. So we're completed here in courtroom 2.
Or is that for C calendar?
This is for misdemeanor court.
We are in misdemeanor court.
No, for the 2 o'clock.
Oh, I see. Okay.
SCA, C.
Oh, the C count.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. All right.
All right, thanks.
I have ACDC and who do we have there, please? Deputy Milton? Is it Deputy Milton at ACDC?
She should be there, Judge.
It's Chauncey. I'm just waiting till 4 North comes back and then Mr. Villaponda will be at that location as well.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hey, Deputy Milton, good morning.
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning. No, sorry, didn't mean to make you rush.
No
I was just wondering, who do we have?
Ms. Gregory,
Mhm.
position 15 and 16.
All right. 4 North.
Judge, I'm sorry, excuse me, but Mr. Johnson's attorney must have left the breakout session or something went wrong with his camera, so I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, as soon as he comes back on and he's let back into the Zoom, we'll put him back in the breakout, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, 4 North, do you have Mr. Villaponda available?
I do, yes.
All right, could you put him on the screen, please? And Miss Gregory, I'll be with you very shortly. I just need to take up this interpreter case. McLean?
We unmuted?
Yes.
Very
All
good.
right. Okay, we have position 38 and 39 of a calendar, State versus Miguel Villaponda, who's located at 4 North of the Fulton County Jail.
Tenemos el caso de Miguel Villaponda, que está en la cárcel de North Fulton.
And Mr. Villaponda has 2 cases.
El señor Villaponda tiene 2 casos.
The first case is a charge of loitering and prowling from March 15, 2022.
El primer caso tiene un cargo de merodear y holgazanear con fecha de 15 de marzo del 2022.
And the second case is arising from a bench warrant from February 14, 2023.
Y el segundo caso es por incumplimiento de comparecencia de con fecha 14 de febrero del 2023.
Mr. Villapando, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of these two cases, your statements can and will be used against you.
Señor Villapondo, usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga sobre los hechos de este caso puede y será usado en su contra.
And you have a right to an attorney, and Mr. Michael McLean will be representing you.
Y usted tiene el derecho a ser representado por un abogado y el señor McLean va a estar representándolo.
Mr. McLean, is this going to be a negotiated plea?
It
Señor
is.
McLean, ¿va a ser esto un convenio declaratorio?
Yes, it is.
And do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, we do.
¿Y ustedes están de acuerdo con el fundamento, jurisdicción y de identificación en este caso? Sí.
Mr. Walker, what's the offer for position 38?
¿Cuál es la oferta de sentencia para el señor?
12 months to serve, 26 days, credit for time served, 13 days, balance suspended with the condition of a stay away from Fry's Electronics located at 3065 Webb Road.
Webb Road.
Yes, W-E-B-B.
What city?
Milton?
Milton, yeah.
La sentencia es de 12 meses, a servir 12 meses es de 12 meses a servir 26 días. Se le da crédito por tiempo servido de 13 días y el resto queda cancelado si se mantiene alejado del negocio Fry's y que está situado en el 306 del Webb Road en Milton, Georgia.
Mr. Villapando, have you consumed any medicine or alcohol recently?
Señor Villapondo, ¿ha consumido algún medicamento o alcohol recientemente?
Medicamento.
Medication.
And are you still able to understand the proceedings so far?
¿Y tiene la capacidad de entender este proceso hasta ahora?
Sí.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
¿Usted ha hablado con su abogado? ¿Está satisfecho?
Sí.
Yes.
Is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
¿Hay alguien que lo esté forzando a tomar una declaración hoy aquí?
Nadie.
Nobody.
If you decide to plead guilty to the charge today, you will have to give up the following rights.
Si usted desea declararse culpable en su caso, estos van a ser los derechos constitucionales a los que usted no va a usar o renunciar.
That will include the right to a trial, the right to confront your accuser,
va a ser el derecho a ir a juicio, al derecho a carear a quienes lo acusan,
to challenge the evidence brought against you, to examine witnesses,
el derecho a presentar, a ver su prueba y testigos en su contra,
the right to have the state prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt.
y el derecho de permitir que la fiscalía presente su caso más allá de toda duda razonable.
Are you prepared to give up these rights?
¿Usted está preparado para renunciar a sus derechos, estos derechos de ir a juicio? Yes.
You need to say yes or no.
Tiene que decir sí o no. I thought he did.
Sí.
Yes.
Estoy preparado.
¿Perdón?
Sí.
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of loitering and prowling?
¿Cómo se declara ante un cargo por merodear y holgazanear? Guilty.
Mr. Villapando, your sentence is 12 months to serve 26 days, credit for 13 days, and balance suspended.
Señor Villapondo, usted tiene una sentencia de 12 meses a servir 26 días. El crédito por tiempo servido de 13 días y el resto de la sentencia se queda suspendida.
You are to stay away from Fry's Electronics at 3065 Webb Road in Milton, Georgia.
Usted debe mantenerse distanciado del negocio Fry's Electronics, localizado al 306 de Webb Road en Milton, Georgia.
The second case for the bench warrant will be closed. It will be null pros.
Y el segundo caso será cerrado por la fiscalía y no se procesará.
Do you have any questions?
¿Quiere hacer alguna pregunta?
¿Y qué hay que seguir? ¿Voy a quedar libre?
So am I gonna be released?
If you have no other cases, you'll be released within 24 hours. Mr. McLean?
Si usted no
Correct.
tiene otro caso, usted será puesto en libertad en 24 horas. Señor McLean.
Correct. If you have nothing else, then you will be released tonight. If you have something else, you will deal with that something else.
Si usted no tiene ningún otro caso pendiente, usted va a ser puesto en libertad esta noche. Pero si tiene algo más pendiente, usted va a tener que permanecer un poco más.
Mr. Villapando, you have a felony case in Superior Court, so unfortunately you will not be released at the present time.
Señor Villapando, usted tiene un caso de delito mayor pendiente con el Tribunal Superior. Desafortunadamente, usted no va a ser puesto en libertad todavía.
Muy bien.
Very well.
Mr. McLean, you might want to check with the Odyssey. He does have a significant bond presently holding him.
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
It was Mr. Palmerini who was so helpful last time. I just got the name.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, he understands.
Please interpret, Mr. Chauncey. He has a significant bond in his other case holding him at the jail.
Señor Villapando, hay una fianza establecida para usted que es con un monto muy importante y que se lo comentó a su abogado, él lo confirmó y usted, él dice que usted ya sabe sobre eso.
¿Me puede repetir cuánto puede ser el monto real?
Can you tell me how much will be the amount?
$73,000.
$3,000.
Muy bien.
Very well.
Yeah, 73,000. Okay.
Oh, 73?
73,000.
Oh, perdón, señor. Discúlpeme, se me cortó y no escuché. $73,000.
¿Es monto real?
That's the actual amount?
That's the actual amount of the bond.
Ese es el monto real de su fianza.
Generally speaking, Your Honor, I can leave it to our felony attorney.
Yeah, I need to correct that. It's going to be 70,000 since we took the plea in the other two cases. It's been reduced by 3,000. So it'll be 70,000, 70.
Debido a que tomamos la declaración en ese cargo, se ha reducido a $70,000 en vez de 73.
He's got 7 burglary charges.
Tiene usted 7 casos con cargos pendientes de entrada ilegal con fines ilícitos.
Each charge carries a bond of 10,000.
Y cada cargo lleva una fianza de $10,000 cada uno. Yes.
All right. Thank you. That concludes.
Gracias. Eso termina con este caso.
Muy amable.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Miss 4 North, may I have Mr. Tyrone Johnson?
I think I won't be needed any longer, Your Honor.
I believe so. Ms. Chauncey, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The state is addressing, I'm sorry, I need to get, okay. Position number 20. And this is State versus Tyrone Anthony Johnson Jr. Case number 23 CR 003373A. Mr. Johnson has got this second misdemeanor case. Is it a second misdemeanor case? No, I'm trying to recall whether the other one was a misdemeanor as well. Okay, anyways, this particular misdemeanor case is from May 27, 2023. The charges are for acquiring a license plate for purpose of concealing the identification of the motor vehicle, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and failure to have license on person. Mr. Johnson, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Romney Phillips. Mr. Phillips, you've had conversations with multiple prosecutors. How are we proceeding?
So, Your Honor, I did my client. The screen froze. I was out. So I never had an opportunity to pay the state's offer.
Oh, so you need to go back into a breakout?
Yes, Your Honor. Just quickly, just let me know what I believe. Or what to
No
believe.
problem. Okay, and your Wi-Fi is not very clear. You're breaking up.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I was on my computer and somehow couldn't connect again through the computer. Can you hear me?
only every other word. Try switching off your video.
Okay.
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 Can you hear me, Mr. Phillips?
Yes, Your
Okay, it's still not coming through very clear. You most likely have to leave and come back on your computer.
Okay, I'll try.
All right. For now, we're going to hold until his attorney is available because his stream is not very clear.
Okay, well, I have position number 45 ready, Mr. Wiley, James Wiley.
You say 45, okay. This is State versus James Wiley, accused of theft of services and willful obstruction of an officer. Case number 23 CR 003384C. Mr. Wiley, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you choose to say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean, how are you proceeding with this case?
This is a negotiated plea of guilty, Your Honor, in which he stipulates venue and identification.
Factual basis and ID?
Right.
Okay. Mr. Wiley, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. Mr. Walker, what's the plea offer for Mr. Wiley?
Yes, Your Honor. It's 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days, balance probated with the conditions of a theft course, and restitution to the American Hotel located at 160 Ted Turner Drive.
That's called the America Hotel?
American Hotel.
American, okay, didn't know that. Okay, Ted Turner Drive, okay. And what's the restitution amount?
I'm sorry, it's $268.03.
Okay. Mr. Wiley, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings in your case so far?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Wiley, if you decide to enter a guilty plea to the charges I've just listed against you, you would have to give up your constitutional right to a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You will not have the opportunity to confront your accuser, examine witnesses, challenge the evidence brought against you, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how do you plead to 1 count of theft of services and 1 count of willful obstruction of an officer?
Guilty.
Your sentence for both charges is going to be 12 months to serve 32 days, credit for time served 16 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you'll be released within 24 hours, and you must report to probation next week at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta. While on probation, you will complete an anti-theft class, and you will pay restitution in the amount of $268.03. The money will be collected by a probation officer to be remitted to the American Hotel on Ted Turner Drive. That concludes your case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may mention, the contact information for the probation is going to be residentially challenged. We do have contact information for his mother and her phone number. We've been in touch with her in another state, and that will be the state of and the level of the contact information we're able to provide.
He lives in a different state. Is that what you mean?
No, he's here. He's right, the challenge right here. So we do have emergency contact, and it's going to be very important. I emphasize to him about just report to 132 and you're fine. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I hope he remembered you saying that because they've removed him from 4 North.
He'll remember it.
Okay.
We spoke about it before.
Mr. Phillips, are you back with us? No, he's not. All right, 4 North, we're going to mute your screen right now. Courtroom 2, Mr. McLean. All right, your client is Miss Gregory at the ACDC. This announcement's for everyone at ACDC. If you're a defendant charged with a misdemeanor offense or offenses, you have a right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say during the course of these proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing Miss Gregory at the present time is going to be Mr. Angelo Dotis. Miss Gregory, do you see Miss Dotis on screen? Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and unmute ACDC. Miss Gregory, do you know how to unmute the screen? Our Deputy Milton?
Come on, Milton.
They should have a remote for it.
Yes.
And Mr. Dotis, how are we proceeding with Miss Amira Khan?
Yes, sir. This will be a negotiated plea, but we would request to enter a plea of nolo contendere.
Well, let's see. Ms. Bickerstaff, are you handling the matter in this case? You're on mute.
I'm sorry, what is the position again?
Position 15 and 16.
15 and 16. Yes, okay. And
there's a request to enter a nolo contendere on position 15.
no, the state would object to the nolo request, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Dotis, does your client still want to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Miss America Gregory, you have 2 cases before us, 22 CR 000-211E, in which you're accused of battery, domestic violence from January 14th, 2022. And you have a bench warrant matter, 23 FTA 000-457. You've been advised of your right to remain silent. May I place you under oath for purposes of the plea? Do you raise your right hand, other right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Doris, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do so stipulate, Your Honor. My apologies. Did Your Honor rule on our nolo request or?
Is denied.
Okay, understood, Your Honor.
Do you still want to proceed? That's what I was asking you.
Yeah, my apologies. There was confusion. Yes, we do want to still proceed.
Okay. And you've already so stipulated. Ms. Bickerstaff, what is the plea offer?
Yes, so for position 15, the state's recommendation is a 12 months to serve 36 days, credit for time served 18 days, balance probated to a FVIB, and to stay away from 3086 Stream View and no further contact with Miss Wilkerson. First name is Wakitha, and that is spelled Wakitha. Wilkerson. And then for position 16, Will No Pross.
Okay. Ms. Gregory, have you consumed any medication or alcohol recently?
No.
And have you understood your discussions with your attorney and the proceedings so far?
Yes.
And is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes.
And did your attorney explain to you that if you decide to plead guilty to the charge of battery, domestic violence, that you will not have the opportunity to challenge this charge in a court of law? There will be no trial. There will be no chance to confront your accuser, challenge the evidence brought against you, examine witnesses, and have the state carry its burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to 1 count of battery, domestic violence?
Yes.
All right. I'll accept your guilty plea. Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 36 days, credit for time served 16 days. If you have no other cases holding you at the jail, you should be released within 24 hours, but you must report to the probation office next week at 132 Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta.
What about the second?
You will continue to report to probation every month while you complete a 24-week domestic violence intervention program. You must enroll in that program within 60 days of being released. And you must attend all 24 weeks of those classes at your expense. At no time shall you have contact with Waikithia Wilkerson. You have to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And you have to stay away from 3086 Streamview, or was it Streamview Avenue? Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor, it's 3086 Streamview Road.
Road, okay. So remember to report to probation and remember to stay away from that person and that location. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, that concludes your case. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Just one second, Mr. Dotis. Ms. Lewis, can you place 4 North and Romney Phillips in a breakout, please, to conclude their conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Dotis, yes, sir.
yes, Your Honor, we would request Ms. Gregory to switch to non-reporting status upon completion of the FVIP program. She does have a stable address, but she did lose her job while in custody. So she is currently unemployed. So we would also ask this court to waive a few months of her probation fees. to help
She has
her.
no other holds, right?
No other hold, Your Honor.
All right, I will waive her probation fees for the months of June, July, and August and September. She will start paying probation fees from October 1st, 2023 onwards.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, next case at ACDC.
And Your Honor, my apologies, was there a ruling on the non-reporting request?
Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, unless the state has any objection, I can put her on non-reporting once she's completed the EPIT.
No objection.
All right. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Dotis, you just have to remind me, I'm trying to multitask multiple windows here. Okay,
Understood, Your Honor. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, next case at ACDC, please.
That's the only one, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very
And-
much.
May I be excused, please?
Yes, Deputy Milton, good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. The only case we are waiting on is on 4 North. While we are waiting, is Mr. Dotis, I'm just going to go over the calendar and let me know if there are other matters that I have to address. Position 1, Jelani Abdul Ali. What's going on there?
Yes, Your Honor. We were told that by jail staff that he was released on June 9th, so we just asked for a reset till further notice.
Okay. And was position 2 released as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Position 3 is released for the notice. Giovanni Charlie, position 4.
Yes, Your Honor. For position 4 and 5, Mr. Giovanni, we request a 1-week reset, have a social worker come out and see Mr. Charlie.
All right, reset 620 pending eval.
Thank you.
Position 6 was null prost. His other 2 cases were a plea. Position 7, 8, and 9 are reset to June 20th for Ms. McLeod to confer with prosecution and her attorney. Position 10 was a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Position 11, Nicovian, and 12, Nicovian Curtis, Mr. Dotis.
I believe we are waiting for jail staff to get to Mr. Curtis.
Okay. Position 13 was a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Position 14 was a plea. 15 and 16 were negotiated. 15 was a plea, 16 was null pros, 17 was arraigned and further notice for trial. Position 18, Zedric Hogan.
Yes, Your Honor. I believe we're waiting for jail staff to find Mr. Hogan. Mr. Hogan did tell me yesterday when I went to interview him that he does have private counsel. I'm not sure who that is, so I would wait for Mr. Hogan to let us know if there's someone we can contact.
All right. Moving on to position 19, Houston. Mr. Dotis?
That will be a negotiated plea. I think we're also just waiting for jail staff.
All right. Position 20, we are waiting on the breakout for Mr. Johnson. Position 21 was a plea. 22, Landry.
This meeting is being.
Yeah, she said.
Position 22, Landry.
22 will be a waiver of presence and arraignment, Your Honor.
All right, position 22 is going to be a waiver of presence and arraignment has been waived, and that's going to be further notice for trial. Position 23, Latoya Moore.
Your Honor, that will also be a waiver of arraignment and presence.
Okay. Position 23 is going to be a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Okay, I believe from that point onwards, it's going to be Mr. McLean's cases. So let me first address Mr. Johnson, Mr. Phillips. Okay, Mr. Phillips, if you'd like to unmute and let us know how we are moving forward with Mr. Johnson's case. I've already made the announcement.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. We're going to waive arraignment and enter a plea of not guilty.
All right. Please draft your waiver of arraignment and email that to our litigation manager, april.champion@fultoncountyga.gov.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I've already did it. I'll tell it in a moment.
All right. Thank you very much. I think you probably, I can't recall. If you haven't entered the entry of appearance, please do so. Thank you.
Has already, Judge.
All right. Yes. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. Your attorney has entered a not guilty plea. The case is going to be further notice for trial. Thank you.
All right.
All right, Ms. Williams and Mr. and Ms. Johnson, you would need to reach out to Mr. Phillips to get an update on the case. Thank you. For North, who do we have next?
Position 40, Mr. Waller.
All right. Mr. McLean, I believe that's your client.
That's correct, Your Honor. This is an arraignment. We will waive the formal reading of the accusation, plead not guilty, ask the court to remind him of the maximum punishment and to watch for his court dates, and then make a bond argument.
All right. This is State versus Isaiah Waller, 23 CR 003383Y. Mr. Waller, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Michael McLean. You've been originally accused of simple battery domestic violence from May 26, 2023. You are legally presumed innocent of this charge, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the prosecution prevails, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
I'm sorry, I need to go ahead.
Deputy, may we proceed?
Excuse.
Well, it's not on mute. I don't know why he's not saying anything.
No, I was just making sure they can hear me.
Yes, given the information I provided, Mr. Waller, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
What? Your case.
I also have a question.
Go ahead.
I'll be glad to answer questions by visiting you after the court session. Dave.
I would like to know, has an offer been made on my behalf? Has an offer been made?
Offer was made and conveyed yesterday.
Yes, and can I hear what that offer is with the courts? Can I hear what it is?
All All right, Mr. Walker, what is the last offer made by the prosecution for Mr. Waller?
The last offer was 12 months to serve, 365 days, Your Honor.
That was the offer, Mr. Waller?
I was just asking because I just didn't know exactly what it was. Was it 12 months time served or was it 12 months to serve 365 days?
Now, the statement was
Yes.
12 months to serve. I conveyed that to you yesterday, Mr. Waller.
I understand that. I was just wondering if it was time served. I didn't know.
No need to wonder anymore, I suppose.
All right, so, Mr. Waller, as I was saying, your case is going to be further notice for trial. Please, if you do make bond, make sure that your address and your contact information are current with the courts at all time, and summons will be sent for you to appear in court. Just for your information, so far you have been in custody for 18 days.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, okay, thank you. That concludes this case.
Your Honor, we do have a bond request.
I beg your pardon?
We do have a bond request.
Oh, that's right, you did. His bond is currently set at $2,000.
It may have appeared to be $1,500 or $2,000 on the computer.
I'm
Your
looking at
Honor.
the jailing screen. It's
$1,500, Judge. He's got a signature bond on one of the charges.
That's right. 1,500 is his good bond.
okay. Go ahead, Mr.
Your Honor, we'd like the court to consider a signature bond at this time. The record of arrest is not so terribly bad. He has a 2013, 2014 matter that in our state, I just don't think he would have done the time that he did. And he completed that, and, as they say, paid his debt to society fully. I think maybe, as one of the lyrics in one of the albums says, may have overpaid his debt. He has a Percocet pill possession from 2018, and that was time served 20 days. He has another matter from time served 30 days from 2020, which is, I'm sure the state will bring up and discuss. Your Honor, he works at Hertz at our car rental center here in Atlanta at the airport. He's worked there for some 5 months. He details vehicles there. He's very skilled at that because he's had other jobs, and as a young man, helped create a business detailing cars. He's very industrious. In high school, he worked at fast food restaurants, the detailing of vehicles. He does contractor work, painting and drywalling. He still does that. He's been doing that for 7 or 8 years part-time. But the job at Hertz pays well. His supervisors really like him. I've talked to his family, Your Honor, on the phone. His mother, I've talked to his friend, and I've talked to another friend. And a signature bond would seem to be indicated in this case. Due to the nature of the case, he will not be a danger to anyone. He understands the idea of stay away from a location, and he completely understands no contact. Your Honor, if released, when released upon this, he will live in Decatur, Georgia at his current address. He was not living with anyone at the time of this occurrence and had been since December 2022, last December, living alone in Decatur. So the alleged victim in this case need have no concern of him being around.
Okay, and Mr. McLean, you are familiar with the other open case, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
Involving the same location, same victim.
Correct.
All right. Mr. Walker, anything to
In
add?
addition to the other open case involving the same victim, it looks like most of his history is out of New York State. I'm showing that he has a obstruction from February of this year. That was a conviction. I'm also showing a criminal damage to property out of New York, which was in 2021. In this case, the defendant attacked the victim while she was sleeping and told the victim that she was going to have to kill him in front of her daughter. At that time, the victim was able to defend herself, and she did discharge a firearm to defend herself and her daughter. Currently, he has a $1,500 surety bond. In light of the defendant's criminal history, having more than one case open with the same exact victim, The state feels it holds a position that $1,500 surety is more than reasonable, and we ask that the court maintain that bond as said.
And I'll just mention, we are adamantly opposed to the facts as alleged. He says that didn't happen that way at all.
Okay. Request for bond modifications denied under the circumstances, Mr. Waller, given the close time frame of both the cases involved. The court is very concerned that he has a very high likelihood to reoffend. Thank you. Mr. Waller, your case is going to be further noticed for trial. Thank you.
I have position number 11 and 12, Curtis.
Thank you. Deputy, would you have position 18 and 19 also, Mr. Hogan? And I don't know.
Well, I went to Mr. Hogan earlier, and he said because it was a misdemeanor, he refused to come.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Mr. Dotis on position 18, Mr. Hogan. I'm going to reset him out 2 weeks. No, not 2 weeks. What's next Thursday? 22nd. All right, and hopefully his private attorney will file an entry of appearance and have adequate time to appear for SAP.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll go check with Mr. Hogan just in case.
Okay. And position 19, the other person we're waiting on is Edric Houston for Mr. Dotis.
I have to go to Fort South to grab those guys to bring them over here because there's no computer connection over there. So
Okay.
once I finish him, I go over there and grab them.
Sounds good. Thank you. Meanwhile, we will address position 11 and 12, and that is Mr. Nakobian Curtis. Mr. Curtis, my name is Judge Long, and you have two cases. Position 12 is 21 CR 0028778. You're accused of simple battery domestic violence from March 15th, 2019. And the second case is 23 FTA 000462, and that's a bench warrant matter for failure to appear in court. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of these cases, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Angelo Dotis. Do you see Mr. Dotis on the screen? Do you see him, sir? You need to say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Dotis, how are we moving forward? Is this a negotiated plea?
For position 12, Your Honor, it will be a plea of not guilty, and we will be waiving arraignment. For position 11, the failure to appear, I spoke with Ms. Bickerstaff, and I believe that we're going to be able to set that aside.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So for Mr. Curtis, for the case in which you are charged with simple battery domestic violence, your attorney is going to submit a waiver of arraignment and enter a plea of not guilty, and the case is going to be further noticed for trial. And with regards to the bench warrant, I believe that the state has consented to set aside the bench warrant. So I gather that he will be released on bond then? The original bond is set?
Your Honor, he's only held on the FTA cash bond, so I believe his original bond remains in place.
All right. Mr. Curtis, please remember that once you're released on your bond, that you are to maintain a current address, phone number, and email with the clerk of court. If you miss another court date or you do not show up for court for whatever reason, and you don't give us the excuse, then we will issue another bench warrant for your arrest. Understood? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor, and I will be providing Ms. Lewis and Ms. Champion an updated address for Mr. Curtis in the chat.
All right, and please submit the proposed order indicating a consent set aside of the bench warrant.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to 4 North. Do you have anyone else you can address?
No, I got to go grab the other two guys from Fort South to bring them over. Give me
Okay.
a moment. I'll be back shortly.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Dotis and Mr. McLean, while we are waiting for the deputy to bring in Mr. Edric. So with regards to Mr. Hogan, that's going to be reset to June 22nd. The SAP calendar at 9 a.m. The last position we stopped at was position 21, Khalid Kareem, which was a plea. Position 22, Landry, was a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. 23, Latoya Moore is a waiver of arraignment and further notice for trial. Position 20, excuse me, that was position 23. 24, Derek Mosley.
Your Honor, did not appear out of the cell for interview, and this is the second week of that. So I think it's time to make a referral for mental health.
All right.
I think that's
We can,
the logic.
are you going to have him interviewed by a social worker?
First, I'll have him interviewed by a social worker and see if that works. So we should be able to accomplish that during the next week.
All right, so I'm going to reset it to 6:20 pending an evaluation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Position 25, Materio Olivar Nasario.
Released.
The thing was released, Judge.
Released? I'm sorry, thank you. 26, 27, and 28 were all pleas. 29 was a plea. 30, Ulysses Rogers, position 30 and 31.
That's a not guilty, Your Honor. I believe after analyzing bond, I was thinking about making a bond argument, but apparently it's quite moot at this time. If that situation changes, we'll inform the proper court, but and get him back in court, but that's not guilty.
All right, if you can please file a written waiver of arraignment for position 30 and 31 and direct that to Ms. Champion, please.
We'll do that, Your Honor.
Thank you. 30 and 31 are further notice for trial. Position 32, Salazar has been arraigned and further notice for trial. 33, Spellers is a medical reset to June 20th. Same announcement for 34. 35, Desmond Stubbs was a plea. 36 is arraigned and further notice for trial. 37, Jose, I think, oh, that was arraigned and further notice for trial. That was Jose Villalba, excuse me. Okay, 38 and 39, Mr. Villapando. 38 was a plea, 39 was null crossed. 40, Mr. Waller is arraigned and further notice for trial. 41, Michael Welch was a plea, 42 was null crossed. 43, Philip White, 43 and 44. Philip White.
Your Honor, due to location within the jail building, we have not been able to interview him. I did speak to one of the jail staff on the phone about trying to make arrangements. If we could reset that till Tuesday, that would be wonderful.
All right, the deputy at 4 North indicated that she was bringing 2 individuals. I don't know who's the other one, but it may be Mr. White. So I'm presently going to reset it to June 20th, depending on who shows up at 4 North.
Right.
All right, we'll be in recess until 4 North appears on the screen. Ms. Champion, did you get all that information on the calendar call?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Position, number 30 and 31, he refused to come. He said he told his lawyer yesterday he wasn't coming. Now I have before you Mr. Houston.
Thank you. All right, Mr. McLean,
What's your name? I said Houston. Hold on, this the wrong guy that came out. I said Houston.
31 just announced that he said he ain't coming. So that's the way we're representing.
all right, folks, we'll just wait. Thank you. We'll still be in recess.
For Mr. Rogers.
So we can do the other room.
Okay, we got Mr. Houston, position number 19.
Thank you. This is State versus Edric Houston, case number 17 CR 015988G. Mr. Houston, my name is Judge Law, and we are addressing your case involving a charge of suspended or revoked license and giving false information to an officer from June 20th, 2015. Ms. Houston, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Dotis. Mr. Dotis, are we still proceeding with the negotiated plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do so stipulate for the purpose of this plea.
All right. Mr. Houston, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the statements you make will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff, what's the plea offer?
The state's offer is 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, 15 days, balance suspended.
All right, thank you. Mr. Houston, have you consumed any medication or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And have you understood the proceedings so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And has your attorney explained to you that in order to enter a free, willing, and knowing plea of guilty to these charges, you would have to give up your right to a trial, to challenge these charges in a court of law, confront your accuser, and have the state prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to the suspended revoked license charge and giving false information to an officer?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days is a time served plea, balance suspended, the case is closed. Thank you.
All right, enjoy your day.
You too, thank you. All right, Mr. Dotis, I think we've gone over the calendar. Are there any other matters we have to address?
I guess, can we check with jail staff on positions 43 and 44 to see if Mr. White will be able to join us, or are we just resetting him?
Okay, we got an officer headed to that location now. He's in medical, and then we also got an officer going to 3 North for that person as well.
For Philip White?
Philip White is in medical. We got an officer headed in that direction as we speak.
Okay.
And then Mr. Mosley on 3 North, which is number 24. Someone is going there as well.
Mr. Mosley, we do not need him. Mr. McLean, that case is going to be reset to June 20th pending an evaluation.
All right.
So it's just Mr. White that we're waiting on. Will they show up from medical unit?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Dotis, thank you very much, Deputy. And Mr. Dotis, we'll wait for Philip White from the medical unit, and that's all I can do right now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Deputy at 4 North, if you could just let the officer know that the court is just waiting on medical right now. That's the only case left.
They know they headed into medical.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll be in recess until Mr. White appears. Thank you.
Mr. Dotis, we have a question for you.
Yes.
Mr. Houston,
Mr. Houston, do you want to speak with me on the phone in private?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But somebody is already on the phone because I just tried to call and
I
we
mean,
didn't
it's
get
not a
answer.
serious question. It's just
You wanted to ask about his fines that he obtained.
I was paying a fine for these charges right here for suspending license. Do that kill the fines that I owe for this charge?
So because you took this plea, you don't have any fines related to the criminal charges. You would need to speak to the Department of Driver Services to see if there's any fines related to getting back your license. But you need to give them a call when you're released.
Okay, but I was paying for his accounting.
Again, if we want to talk about this further, you can give our office a call and I can try to direct you, but this closes out your criminal matter with Fulton County. I can't advise you on any possible fines with the Department of Driver Services.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Fortis, let's address your case. Is this Philip White?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. McLean, have you conferred with Mr. White?
No, Your Honor, it's great to see him. I would like to do a breakout room with him. He's been an MOU and unavailable to us.
All right. Do you want to do it from the courtroom too? And then in medical, you have other people in the room with you.
I'd like to do that on a laptop, Your Honor, if possible. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
no, Your Honor, if we could have a breakout room with my laptop, PD Angela Dotis. and
Yeah.
Medical.
Sure, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Ms. Lewis, if you could arrange a breakout, please, for
Get it on
PD Angelo Dotis and then the medical unit.
Your Honor, I'm just gonna submit a null process in this case.
Oh, you are? Okay. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
All right. So for position 43 and 44, it's going to be a null pros. I think there was a message, all orders are to be submitted to email to April Champion at april.champion.fultoncountyga.gov. All right, Mr. White, both your cases have been closed out. If you have no other matters, you should be released within 24 hours. Thank you. All right, folks, I've gone over the calendar. Mr. Walker, you good?
I'm good.
All right, folks, you all have a good afternoon and I'll see some of you at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
All right.